What's going on, guys? Ben Fung here with UpDoc. Real quick, give me a second just to test all the audio and to make sure everybody can talk with me. I got some really cool kind of preview stuff from this industry report we'll be working on, and some of the numbers and the trends of our profession are just truly, well, it's shocking, striking, but also very inspiring. So just give you a moment just to check all the audio stuff, and I'll be right back. Okay, I think we're good. I'll just put this in here so I don't get distracted by any kind of like extra sounds out there. Hey guys, I think Chris Lee, what's up? Andrew, what's going on? I'm not sure if anybody else joined, but make sure that if you're commenting or if you want to be part of the conversation, please join the actual broadcast link on the UpDoc Media Facebook page. That way I can see your comments and emojis and that kind of stuff. If you're able to hear me, able to see me, go ahead and drop a comment or give me a couple of thumbs up emojis or heart emojis. But we got some cool things to talk about, and they're big. And it's kind of this thing of, everybody's always looking at this prospect from both sides, and I find that it's pretty much hilarious. Like around this time of year, almost always around this time of year, and also surrounding like private practice section, we go through this like biphasic curvature of like complete elation and hope of our industry, and then suddenly like, oh, everything's terrible, right? And it's always the same stories. It's reimbursement is going down, Medicare is getting capped, things are more expensive to run business, and it's just the same stuff. And the thing about it though, guys, is it's always been the same stuff. Like the glory days of like the 80s and early 90s where you can ultrasound for like $100 a unit or whatever it was. Like that day is so far gone that looking back on it and wishing for that time is only going to just phase us out. We have to be looking forward. We have to be looking at different models of business, and more importantly, different models of value proposition that we can give to the marketplace to elevate our industry from both within healthcare but also within the general consumer's mindset. So guys, I got some numbers for you. I'm going to play a little bit of creativity here, and since I'm using the user-based facing camera, everything's backwards. So if I was holding up this sheet here, it's all backwards. But we're clever. We have flashlights, and let's just cover this right here. Right now, we have about, and just based on our best information, we have about 20,000 clinics in the United States at about 240,000 physical therapists and about 53% supply going directly to outpatient services. Now, that's kind of expected. I mean, like, we kind of know this information. We know that about a half of our profession goes towards outpatient, and everything else is a mixture of acute care, inpatient, SNF, LTAC, home health, wellness, and all sorts of other niche markets. But the bulk of what we do is outpatient physical rehabilitation, and that's no surprise. But if we take a look at this, guys, if we take a look at what's going on again now, well, that's kind of cool. You're getting a feedback here because of the camera itself. Let me see if I can change that up. Here we go. So, if you take a look at it now, right now, our industry is bringing in about $1.5 to $3.0 million per clinic. That translates to about $236,000, basically $250,000 to about just shy of $500,000 per physical therapist. And this is only at 8 to 10% market share. All right, this is only 8 to 10% of our entire potential of reaching the public that needs us is being served. And conservative estimates from only a couple of years back are saying that's about a $30 billion industry. All right, just kind of let that marinate a little bit. Our industry is easily worth $30 billion on outpatient alone. Let's not even touch home health or SNF or the mass amounts of money that's flowing in and out of hospitals. Okay, just outpatient clinics alone, outpatient practices, corporations, networks alone, $30 billion, and that's from reports from like 3 to 5 years back. If you talk to modern, contemporary economists in healthcare, they'll tell you that we're probably more in like the 50, 60, even $70 billion, and that's only at 8 to 10% market share capture, guys. Only 8 to 10 out of 100 people ultimately come see a physical therapist for their musculoskeletal, neuromuscular, pelvic health, pediatric, geriatric, vestibular, anything under the sun under that bracket of physical health. They ultimately see us. only 10%, and that's like a liberal estimate. Really, it's probably more like 7 to 8% market share. So let that marinate, guys. All right, we're trying to fight and serve people that need us, that very much need us, and you and I know this. We all know this the best because we live this every single day, and we care about it. We're passionate about it, right? 8 to 10%. Only that's all that get to see us, and the rest are, quote, doomed to some type of opiate crisis or unnecessary surgery or just living with it, right? That's just not good enough, and that's not good enough. Socially, it's not good enough. Financially, it's not good enough for our businesses. It's not good enough for our household incomes. It's not good enough anywhere. So what do we do about it? Well, let's just cover this. All right. If 10%, let's just give it 10%. All right. If 10% of our industry is equal to $30 to $60 billion, and we'll do the lower numbers, right? The conservative numbers. So say 10% is 30 billion. If we grow by 5%, we're now a $45 billion industry, up from 30 billion. And that means the average PT now makes $323,000 of gross revenue for the clinic, right? If we grow into 20%, now we're a $60 billion industry, conservatively. And PT is now bringing in basically almost $400,000 of gross revenue, up from $250,000 per physical therapist. Now, we don't get to keep all of that. It's a whole different talk. Right? If we move up to 40%, imagine if 40 out of 100 people who need us get to see us right away, now we're looking at a $120 billion industry, every PT bringing in $600,000 of gross revenue for our businesses. Now, of course, that's across an average, which means, if you have a good contract, you're going to make more of that. If you have a bad contract, you're going to make less of that. If you have a larger business footprint, you're probably going to have a more competitive reimbursement schema because of your ability to prove and drive volume, which we'll talk about also. All right, so guys, there's so much opportunity out there, and the solution is all unified in one very important thing: making sure that we have more market share. Because if we bicker out of this 8 to 10%, we're just going to starve ourselves out. We're going to just undercut each other until we're worth nothing. This has already happened once or twice in the history of contemporary healthcare and physical therapy as it fits. So we don't need to go there. We already have all of our industry leaders, both in the private and public sectors, tell us, look, stop fighting each other. Stop taking bad contracts. Stop saying yes to bad reimbursement rates. Stop begging for table scraps when we should really be vying for market share value from the healthcare consumer. So how do we go about doing that? How do you want to make more money as a physical therapy professional, and then make more money for our entire industry, for our space, for our profession, for our community in physical therapy? So, this is where most people go, all right, well, margins are razor thin, and, it's just cost of business going up, and all these different, again, negative thoughts that don't add to the solution. Well, those are the same negative things that are affecting every single industry. Those are universal. But how are the Apples? How are the Disneys? How are the Amazons and the Walmarts and all these larger footprint industries and industry leaders making it through these, quote, tough times? And there are 3 principles in both marketing and in business where, despite your margins, there are ways to grow from here to here. So let's talk about them. Here are the 3 ways. Regardless of where your market is right now, regardless of where your business footprint is right now, this is how we win. Which means this is how everyone wins, because then everybody's healthier and the people we serve actually get to see us. All right, here's the 3 ways to win. 3 ways to win and to grow. Number 1, market demand, right? Whenever you have a high market demand, the price goes up. It's law of supply and demand, right? If you want for physical therapy services to be valued more people need to want us, which means more people need to know about us, which means we need to really up our marketing game all over the place. It can't just be word of mouth. It can't just be referral sources. It can't just be hoping people will trickle their business towards us. We have to go out there and share and prove our value. Number 2, operational scale. This is how supply chain leaders make so much money. It's not because they're selling, they're selling dollars on the penny for the distribution lines. That's not the case. Things are still, stuff is expensive. They don't win that way. What they win is through efficiency. They are able to centralize redundant processes and redundant costs into one singular operational cost center. And the way that works, let me just put this down. The way that works is, say you're a small business owner, right? Say you have a clinic, small practice, it's you, a partner, maybe 2 or 3 other clinicians, right? You're dealing with 5 full-time equivalents of people bringing in revenue, plus maybe a couple support staff. But that percentage of overhead is so much higher when it comes to insurance and other business overhead things, work comp, you name it, payroll, HR, all that stuff that tags on top, the fact they have to pay for an EMR, all that stuff, right? All of that is a lot more expensive by employee for the smaller business than for the larger enterprise, or for business alliances or managed service organizations or anything. When anything operationally scales up and gets bigger, you can have dedicated parts of your team to do stuff that is otherwise split up, which means things are more redundant and less efficient and cost more. That's why operational scale is so important. And here's the other part, guys. Volume of revenue. Just think about your personal income, all right? Say we're talking about, quote, averages, right? The mythical average of new grads making $60,000 a year. That's a whole nother talk also. I'm not going to get into that because that's going to be all fired up. I'm waiting for somebody to come to make a comment and get me on that rabbit hole. But guys, think about if you're a new grad, right? And you're offered $60K. Say your take home, say your mental take home is $60K, right? You're working with your personal finances. You're okay. I'm going to get paid cash $60K. Some of that's going to go to Social Security, taxes, and all that kind of stuff. But say you're able to save 10% of that for the future. That's $6,000. All right, that's $6,000. Jared, don't do it. Well, I was talking about you. Don't do it. But guys, say you're a new grad and they're like, yeah, new grads have no place in the world. You can only make $60,000 a year because that's the way the world works. That's the way the universe spells it out for you, which I think is complete baloney, by the way. And we've proven it. But say it's $60,000 and you can save $6,000, 10% of that top line for your household income and savings and a rainy day. Well, that's not a lot of money, guys, right? Like $6,000 can burn up overnight. Just think about how many months of rent and food that can really cost, and that may only get you through a quarter or 2 months or even 1 month, depending on what's going on in your life with the amount of loans you have to pay off and all that stuff. But what if we were to double it? Just like we talked about for the market share, right? Like right now we're at 10%. At 20%, we literally doubled our gross revenue profile in the marketplace for musculoskeletal health and physical health services entirely. And there's a reciprocal move up as well for the amount that clinicians would then produce in gross revenue for each company, business, unit, department, whatever. But let's just glorify it and say it was doubled. What if you were to take a mental take home of $120,000 instead of 60? Right? What if you're $120K and you still save 10%? Now you're at $12,000. Sure, the margin didn't change, right? The amount of money that you could actually take home and either save or pay off loans or whatever didn't change. It's still 10%. But you thinking to yourself, wow, I can manage now for myself $12,000 versus $6,000, even though that's still 10% of my top line. That is a lot more comforting, isn't it? In fact, that almost gives you downright hope. You're like, dang, that would be awesome. But I'm telling you guys, that is absolutely possible. We've seen other industries do it, and we've seen many companies within our space do it because they are raising their individual brands' marketplace value, right? By creating demand, by channeling their resources to effective and creative marketing initiatives. And this happens at the micro level, and it happens at the macro level, which is the final step. This is it. It's the final step. Micro plus macro equals PT wins. All right? Micro plus macro. Let me restart that there. If you're wondering why there's those stripes, that has to do with the frequency of the light and the camera, which is pretty cool physics stuff. But micro plus macro equals PT wins. When I'm talking about PT wins, guys, I'm not talking just about the fact that we win. All right, I'm not talking about like, hey, yeah, we all make more money now. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about everything wins. If you heard me use this hashtag before, I actually use it as a patient story hashtag. Right? This is how PT wins for people. Right? When it comes to like the spinal cord injury person that the surgeon said, you're never going to walk in, but they still walk out of acute neuro rehab, right? For the ACL tear, they're like, oh, you're never going to play this sport again, but they still do it, right? For the person that wrecked their shoulder, but now they're still back into throwing sports. For the mom that has been in a lot of pain postpartum, but now is able to play with their children. These are the PT wins I'm talking about. And then our personal PT wins, and then our greater PT wins. Micro plus macro equals PT wins. Now, what does that spin off to be? It means micro. It means your practice, your license, your personal brand, the business unit, the department, the team that you work with and for, then the company, then the region, then the state, and then finally we get into macros, right? We're talking about the greater regions and then the entirety of, call it the United States market, because that's where I'm in, so I'm biased, right? But this works. This is just economics, guys. This is laws of economics, and we see it work every single day in so many different industries. We need to start applying these sciences to our own profession, right? If you don't settle for bad contracts as a practice, you will, by the nature of demand, create a better situation for yourself. That goes the same for a company as it would be for a prospective candidate or employee. Don't settle for bad pay. It only devalues physical therapy as a brand, physical therapists, physical therapy assistants, and all of our team that we might categorize as ancillary support staff. Is also one PT fam, guys. So if you want to win, you have to promote and create demand at the micro level. That means for you as an individual professional, for you as a single site practice, for you as a multi-site community practice, for you as a network of practices, for you as a regional or national corporation as a practice. Then we also have to raise demand on the macro level. That means changing not just the regional 8 to 10% into 15, into 20, into 30, into 40% market share. Now we're talking about the entire nation, if not the entire world, right? Because then what actually happens, guys, is we have to affect some of the limiting factors of macroeconomics on our industry and our profession, which is licensure. Which means we have to advocate, guys. We have to be in legislative and political advocacy, if not activism, to make sure that the other 90% of people that never get a chance to see a physical therapist for care, so that they don't have to undergo the knife, so they don't have to go down some kind of opioid crisis, so they don't have to live with whatever they're living with that isn't the optimal, transformative human experience that we all deserve to have, that they can also be transformed and have best health and have such good care and to really be brought into a true fold of interwoven services within healthcare. It's on us, guys. It's on us to push the macro. It's on us to push the micro. We need to create that demand for ourselves. And if you go back, if you're watching the replay, guys, right, one of the sheets I showed was if we were to have 40% market share, each physical therapist would be bringing in at least $600,000 of gross revenue per your average clinic, right? And who knows how that's going to pan out. And yes, those numbers are scaled just linearly and reciprocally for what we currently have going. That's the power of volume. That's the power of, instead of serving only 8 or 10 out of 100 people, what if we were to serve 20 out of 100 people? What if we were to serve 30 or 40 out of 100 people? I'm only asking, guys, that we go up by 5%. By 5%, we would move our $30 billion industry conservatively, and that's from years ago estimates, like 3, 4, 5 years ago, we'd turn a $30 billion outpatient industry into a $45 billion industry. Just overnight, double the gross revenue that we could generate within this musculoskeletal physical health movement health industry. I think we can do it. I think it's on us to do it. And we have all the tools. What we have to do is we have to grow, progress, evolve, and go with the data of how we reach people by reaching them where they are, through the screen, by creating relationships, by going on platforms and by going into town halls, into communities, into schools, into PTA meetings, parent teacher aid, not PTA meetings, right? Going into groups of culture, groups of faith, groups of activism and industry and passion. There's so much space for that, guys. That's how we win. That's how we make PT wins. Again, macro plus micro. We gotta own it for ourselves, and then we have to own it for each other, for that bigger, greater picture. And the tools are all there. And the numbers are all there. So if you want to know more about the numbers, I have a link below. It's like a Google link thing. I'm not done with it yet. We had some interns help us with it as well. We're creating a 2018 version of the physical therapy industry report. And it's going to go all over that. We're going to include stuff from the Job Market Pulse, which actually now includes occupational and speech therapy professional lines. And the really cool part is we're just about to get enough good data on the PT payer behaviors. So there's something called the PT payer info pool that UpDoc put together, where it's the same thing as the Job Market Pulse, where you kind of anonymously drop your information there, and it's open source, which is why it's free. We don't charge for it because it's open source. Like, you're donating, really. We're just kind of collecting it together so we can all see a better picture. And that's going to be in there too. We're going to run some industry market analyses trends in terms of economic growth and all that stuff, and put it together in a more or less organized and pretty format of a white paper. Of course, it's not going to be at an academic level. We're a media company, guys. We're here to put out good information and good, accurate content, but we're still physical therapists, which means we're still scientists, and we're going to make sure it's accurate by the numbers, accurate by the facts, and yes, you can double check every single reference and resource that we will have it listed there. But it's there, guys, and I'm sharing this with you not so that you necessarily sign up for it. I'm sharing it so that maybe you can add to it. You know, we're not done with all of the analysis yet. So if you have stuff to put in there to help share and help the PT fam grow and strengthen our position for 2018 and into the future, now's the time to do it. And if you know of colleagues, if you know of friends and family, if anybody that feels just as passionately as you and I do, share this message. All right? It's a very simple message that all we have to do is stop fighting internally and scraping at the walls for the bottom of the pan of the pie of that, let me get that slice of that 8 to 10%. Forget that, guys. We're growing, we're making a bake sale. We're going to grow from the 10% to the 15, 15 to the 20, 20 to the 40, and you know what happens from there. All right, guys. That's all I got. Let me roll through some of these comments. Drop some quick questions. I didn't want to run too terribly long. Looks like we're about 20-something minutes in, and I'll cut it off at about 25 or so. Let me just check out here. And thank you so many. I'm lost in the comments, but I'll just make some shout outs. John Tramontana and Jared, Chris Lee, Andrew, Trent, Katrina, Sarah, Jen Kelly, Sean, Brittany, Jean, Jake, Samantha, David, Casey Coleman, Jason, and Jason. Brandon, what's up? Pete, Brian, JL, shout out to Pathfinders, Andrew, Slavko, Abby, Matt Young. Guys, thank you so much for being with me. Guys, share the message. I mean, really, this is a mindset thing, right? Just think about it. Just like say tomorrow, like you're jazzed up right now, but tomorrow you wake up, what are you going to see? You're going to see classmates, you're going to see colleagues, you're going to see coworkers, and they're either going to think, hey, this is awesome, we're going to do this, or they're going to say, well, what can I do? And I'm going to tell you, you can do a lot. You can do so much. I truly believe that this coming generation of professionals, of physical therapy professionals, our colleagues, our PT fam, is going to change everything. They already are. I mean, as students, there are influencers in our field that are doing things that the pioneers of our professions, our heroes, my heroes, haven't been able to do because they didn't have the technology. They didn't have the outreach. They had to grind the old school way. We have accelerators now, right? Through technology, through social media, through just a very change of culture that is currently the millennial age. There's so much to do and so much to improve upon and to grow and to truly, truly help people. It's amazing. And so wherever you go, if they're slumming around, they're going, man, like we're all going to lose. We're going to close shop because reimbursement is nothing, blah, blah, blah. Then share them this video because they need to change that mindset of instead of fighting for the 8 to 10%, forget that. Forget that. We're going after the 15, the 20, the 30, the 40 because that's what's going to change by the numbers and literally double our top line gross revenue worth in the marketplace right there. Right, even a 5% change right now will literally just, it grows us by 50%. We are baking a whole new pie, my friend. That is right. All right. Brian, thanks for joining. Russ, what's up, man? And Trace, all y'all, thank you so much for joining. For those of you watching the replay, thank you for joining as well. Please let us know if you have any kind of requests, comments, questions, concerns, anything at all. We're here to make it happen for you. This is Ben from UpDoc signing off.